Call the meeting, the Brookings County Commission meeting, 8:30, Tuesday, February 6, 2024. After the pledge, I'd like to have a moment of silence to honor Officer Ken Proick, a Moody County deputy who tragically lost his life while on duty last weekend. Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Item number 3 is an invitation for a citizen to schedule time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. There's a 5-minute time limit per person. Anyone wanting to speak during this agenda item must sign in prior to the start of the meeting. No commission action will be taken during this agenda item. Any requested action item may be scheduled for a future meeting date. I don't believe we have any today, so move on to item number 4, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to second. Any additions, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 5, consent agenda items. We have the minutes, travel education, personal action notices, cellular authorizations, and human services report. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any additions, corrections, comments? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Bartley,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Hostler,
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Routine business, item number 6, approval of the claims. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments, additions?
I got a quick question. It's on page 65 here. It's to the city of Brookings. 911, E911 services. Looks like we're paying September, October, and November of 2023. And also looks like interest on there. I didn't know what that was. Is that page
So
65?
the E911 money comes in from the state several months behind, and every time we get 3 months worth, we send a check to the city. We also pay them their portion of the 911 interest. They get that too. So it always runs late like that.
All right, thank you.
I guess I had one question for Brian. The DOT striping the bill in the packet for $423,000. It seems extremely large.
It is because it involves 3 years.
Okay.
It involves 21, 22, and part of 21, 22, and 23. If you guys recall, there was a paint shortage in those years, and several counties and myself had discussed this, and we were very frustrated to receive all those bills all at once, right at the end of the year.
Okay. That's what I was just wondering, if it was a mistake that we got other regions in our bill or anything
No,
like that.
It was all our striping for those years.
Okay.
How is that going to affect cash flow for this year?
That's what I was concerned about too, and I know that we're gonna have a discussion on that because we were wanting the bills obviously earlier, but we did not receive them from the DOT.
So if they were budgeted, not paid for, they would have gone into fund balance, but they're not budgeted for this year, so we're gonna probably have to do supplemental budget out of fund balance to pay for it.
Probably. I don't know if we do that right away or if we just kind of watch the budget as the year goes on, and then if it's needed, we could do that.
But it is something that I did note that I needed to speak with Stacy and Lori about because of the amount that large for those projects.
Any further questions? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Bartley,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Hostler,
Aye.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
motion carries.
Item B, department head reports, 4H.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I'll just capture some highlights for you. Shooting sports got started here in the month of January, and in fact, has this past weekend into tomorrow will be the first round of match one. Second match opportunity within this match one timeframe will be this coming weekend. 4-H members have 3 opportunities throughout this season to shoot a qualifying score, and qualifying scores are collected during those identified match opportunities. Qualifying score varies based on discipline, based on age, and even the style. Like within archery, the qualifying number might look a little different based on the type of equipment you are using. So they'll have that opportunity to submit scores by February 15th, March 15th, and April 15th, and the state shoots the end of April. But they're hard to believe that we are shooting the first round of our match this past weekend and then this weekend to come. We have seen a lot of growth in our shooting sport program this year. We have more than 30 kids in our archery from last year, which is a great problem to have. With every growing group becomes just some of those changes that need to be implemented. So we're really tapping into our 4-H parents and guardians that are attending practice with their young shooters so that coaches can be attentive to the line and not pulled away for tasks such as equipment needs, whether something has needs some repair, some looking at when they're scoring these matches now, last weekend and this weekend, just having some extra adult help with a quick calculator that can allow scoring to take place even if the next line has gotten started with their shooting. BB gun, we did add 2 more lines to that this year. We've been operating on a couple large lines the last 2 years, one on Saturday morning and one on Sunday afternoon, and our wait lists allowed for some discussion that the instructors had ahead of time to manage that influx. So we do have a couple of new BB gun lines, and believe it or not, still getting phone calls about wanting to get involved. So trying to accommodate the best we can, but now that we're into this first match and many safety tests are done, which is a requirement of the program, it gets to be a little bit more challenging to add those extra youth in. We are using a at-home program this winter into spring called Food Fund 4-H around the world. And the month of January, it's a cooking program that they do at home with their families. They submit photos to show their activity at home and their family dining together. I included a few pictures that captured the feedback that was the most heard. There was an Oktoberfest pretzel muffin, which was very tasty. I tried it at home. Kids enjoyed making it, and the pictures proved that they got their hands messy with the dough. The next month, or for February, is Italy. I think March is Greece. There's Japan and Mexico. And each month, those materials are provided for them to prepare the recipe. They have to take care of buying all the ingredients and find the time to do that with their families at home and sit down for a family meal. But not only does it encourage some ideas like eating at home, which is a lot more friendly to the budget than dining out, but just implementing that opportunity to become familiar with the kitchen, as well as having family discussions that can just provide that support sometimes you don't realize you need until you sit down with those that you care the most about talking about the highs and lows of the day and even the experience of cooking together. Most of the individuals that reported back appeared to have made the whole meal at once. So like Germany had a meat dish and a dessert and the bread and a cucumber salad, and I don't recall if there was a fifth recipe or not, but it provides a full menu for them. So some chose to make it all at once, others chose to piece it out depending on when they might have started their project. I did the pretzels on a Sunday because they, needed some time the dough needed time to rise, and on top of the rising, then the processing. As far as if you've never made pretzels, it required a boiling bath before it was baked. With their responses in relationship to their photos, they also provide some answers to I think, I wonder, and I wish. And I wonder what next month will be. I think that I like this, or I really did not like the mushrooms. So opportunity for their feedback. Busy in the schools, junior achievement. I was at the Sioux Valley fourth grade last week, and we were talking about them being young entrepreneurs and the decisions they were making if they owned a hot dog stand. Some of them made some money, some of them didn't. We were talking about just the costs that go into promoting your business as well as having the necessary materials. And I thought it was really funny when I left that one of them said, "Have you seen the price of laundry detergent?" So they're aware of what things cost. And yes, I said, I'm aware I buy the things. So kids are excited about that opportunity to think about making their own money and what it looks like, but yet they do recognize that there's a lot of cost involved with things, whatever those things might be, to make dreams become a reality. The Watertown Farm Show gets started this week, and we're again offering an opportunity for our youth to complete their youth livestock literacy component, which is a requirement to show livestock at the local and state levels come this summer. We have some going on locally too, but that one is an opportunity as we have youth from around the area that will be visiting the farm show throughout the week. Into March, we'll be hosting a kind of a spin-off of the junior leader mixers that we've been doing for the last couple of years, calling them Dash Plus. We're including adults in this next round, incorporating our volunteer development field specialist out of Aberdeen, providing some of our tools and resources for volunteers as they have encountered different situations. There have been a few counties across the state that have had some challenges over the last 12 to 18 months, and likely the individuals that participate in Dash Plus are not part of the problem, but this does give them some tools to be able to combat, if you will, or be more proactive locally and having a voice of reason, perhaps, as they're having those dialogues with their peers. So looking forward to that addition, as it's just trying to be more proactive in our area before problems arise. And like I said, we don't have any of those problems here in Brookings, fortunately, but there are some 4-H advisors that have struggled with challenging personalities and differing opinions and attitudes, and so we'll do what we can to help prepare those adults not only just for their own discussions with their peers, but to be prepared to set that positive example for the youth that they're also working with. I believe that our project, as far as the kind of remodel addition at the OAC for extension, has been finished. It's finished and it looks really good. So we're happy to be transitioning some stuff into that space. And when you're out next time, you should take a look. It looks really good. So, questions for me? Thank you. Have a great day.
Bob, County Development.
Good morning.
Or
The first thing I want to talk about is the Madera Township Drainage Project. That project is still going on, and the engineer, Banner's engineer, hydrologist, Kent Johnson, is talking to the National Conservation Resource Services state engineer, and at this stage, they're assisting us by doing, assembling a draft operating plan. And I told them to go ahead and start on that and give us an update as soon as the engineers can do it. So it's in my budget to go ahead and continue on to a limited extent, so on that, we're still moving ahead. We got a local emergency planning committee meeting next Thursday, February 15th. That'll be at Daktronics. There is a survey going on for our pre-disaster mitigation plan, and at the next county commission meeting, I'll go ahead and include that flyer so the citizens can log on and, oh, well, there it is right there. And they can log on to that and give us their input. One thing the citizens need to realize when you do something like the pre-disaster mitigation plan, 99% of the time in a county like Brookings County, the only people that's gonna get reimbursed is the local governments, townships, county, cities. It's extremely rare to get the individual assistance. We have gotten individual assistance in the past, but it's extremely rare. But we still want your honest answers to those surveys so we can have the best plan that we can. And that is a living document type survey for the next 5 years. So if something changes, halfway through the 5-year period, we can always go in there and change. This Thursday, we've got an incident command system training going on at our PPCC meeting, which is at the Brookings Hospital this week. I'll be on the radio here in a few minutes to talk about the pre-disaster mitigation plan again. And February 16 and 17 at the Brookings Home Show, my local emergency planning committee, we always sponsor a booth. So Brookings County will be represented at the home show. Typically, I display public materials about hazards in the county. This year, we're going to promote the pre-disaster mitigation plan pretty heavy. And if they have any questions on the hazardous materials in Brookings County, we usually have a map to show where at least our facilities are. And that's all I got. Any questions? Thank you.
Highway Department.
Good morning. As you guys can see there, we're gonna have bid openings for our chip seal project and our overlay project. And our supplies and materials. The reason why we do have to open up our chip seal project a week later is we need to know the prices that we're gonna pay because the contractors have to pay a use tax on those materials. So that's why there's 2 different days on that, and then you guys will be considering those bids at the March 5th meeting. Aside from that, our crews have been working on crack sealing the chip seal project roads, and one of the things that's kind of been the buzz around with the counties is with the unseasonably warm temperatures. We may be considering load limits earlier than we have in previous years. But like we always do, we will be sending out a notification at least a week in advance to those that are signed up at the highway shop to have that email come to them. It notifies businesses and such to the fact that we are going to be implementing those load limits. Codified law states that February 15th is the date that we can implement those load limits. At this point in time, speaking with our immediate surrounding counties, we aren't considering it at that point, but if the weather does in fact hold to be warmer, we may be considering it. But you guys will be notified prior to that happening also.
Are there any counties in South Dakota that have put load limits on yet?
They've had to change their resolution. Speaking with Minnehaha County, McCook County, and counties farther to the south, they are changing their resolutions to implement their load limits earlier. But speaking with those other counties around us, we're going to try to hold off as long as we can. But there is counties to the south of us that are looking at implementing their load limits sooner than later.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sheriff?
Good morning.
Morning.
Another glorious day with fog, but we have not had any issues with the fog. So I think the motoring public has been, prepared for the fog and driving accordingly. So we've really have been lucked out in this area so far. Anyway, just total inmates today, we have 51 inmates, 22 of Brookings County inmates, and the rest are out of county. Things 24/7 always continues to stay busy, and we did write a grant for help in the 24/7 area, and we did get awarded a $10,000 grant, so that will help in that area for coverage and so forth. So yeah, it stays busy, and Tanya Thornton, that is the 24/7 coordinator, does a good job on there, but it's keeping track of all the money and this that comes in and stuff. And we were able to get the grant because our funds haven't been up there like it used to be. We have less participants than, I think at COVID time, I think we had close to 160 or whatever. And but we're also seeing that in our circuit, not the circuit, but in Brookings, is the court has waived some of the fees. And that, when they waive the fees, then that puts a burden, because this is supposed to be a self-efficient program, but when the court waives fees, then the county picks up the tab for that. And so that's caused some problem with having to supplement that program with county funds. Also, I handed out this sheet that came from the Brookings Health System. That is, I think this is pretty informative on involuntary committals. And you could see that the top one there, that last year there was 31 petitions filed in 2022 there was 31 petitions filed, and in 2023 there was 52 petitions filed. And by that, that's how many we transported to a medical facility for emergency committals. So that was up, 21. But we deal with a lot more individuals with mental health issues that doesn't get petitions. They either are cleared on our laptops in our cars or set up on a safety plan, that type of stuff. So the next one, I won't go through all this, but just that mode of arrival, that PV is private vehicles. So that's the statistics. But private vehicle is that someone brings in someone that's having having some mental health thoughts or whatever. The other was EMS, Emergency Medical Services, then Brookings Police Department, SO, and then SDSU Police. And it talks about the chief complaints, medical treatment, petition by, you can see where the petition by family, counselor, officer, provider, who does most of the petitions. When you get down to disposition, too, is that you see that we have some that stay in jail for a period of time. Some stay at the Brookings Hospital. The next one is Avera Behavioral Health out of Sioux Falls. And then there's HSC, which is Human Services out of Yankton. So you can see that more individuals are going to Avera in Sioux Falls because Yankton is full and don't have a bed. And we have an individual in jail right now is waiting for a bed, and I think we're 10 or 12 beds ahead of us So that's the problem. The problem with going to Avera in Sioux Falls is probably charging us probably double, probably, huh?
No, they shouldn't be. So they've worked that out, which HSC and the state is paying the rate if it's overflow at Avera. We've worked that out.
Okay, good. See, I wasn't aware of that. I don't get those bills, so I don't see
Yeah.
it, but I know at one time it was a lot more. And it's okay to go to Sioux Falls because it's a lot closer, so I don't mind going to Sioux Falls because it saves us some time. So it's good to know that it's not costing us that much more then. So, other than that, the other thing is, of course, with the officer, deputy that got killed in Moody County, is that we've been helping out with calls and stuff, but so far we've not had to go over to Moody County and taken any calls. But now I have deputies going, they have a casket watch where they have an officer, and so I have officers going over and doing that, a casket watch. And then on Wednesday, they asked if my office would cover calls during their visitation time. So I'm going to send deputies over to Flandreau, and so is Hamlin County going to send a deputy over. And then Dual County is going to cover calls on Thursday, so we're trying to help out Moody County. So other than that, unless you guys have some questions.
Any questions? Thanks, report.
Okay.
Lori?
Good morning. Each year, our county needs to report to the commission the number of off-sale and on-sale liquor licenses available for this coming year. We have 0 available on-sale liquor license. There are 7 allowed to Brookings County, and that is based on population. The 7 that we have right now are ABR, Brookings Country Club, Danceland, Skyview Junction, Midway Camp, and Sade Vineyard, and Wagon Wheel. We have 5 available off-sale liquor licenses, and we are allowed 6 per statute. And the one that we have is the Brookings Country Club. So letting you know that. The first election that we ran up here happened for the city. It was an improvement. There are some minor changes that we'll make for our large election, but I think overall it worked really good for the people who came and wanted to observe, get the results early. It also worked better for the staff, so that was a good change that happened. I wanted to let the public know about the property tax reduction programs that are available. The middle one, the freeze on assessment for disabled citizens, that one takes place in our office with a deadline of April 1st. And what that does is it rolls back the valuation of your property to when you turn 65. So in most cases, a home is going to increase in value. So if you're rolling it back a few years, your taxes will henceforth be lower. Mobile homes, of course, it's opposite. Those decrease in value. So we do not have people that own modular homes applying for this, but it's good information for those people who are 65 and older and will meet those income requirements. The other 2, we are starting to see a lot more disabled veteran exemptions come through, and that is handled through the county assessors or equalization office. We rolled out our new credit card system. It's been working good. We still have a few kinks happen here and there, but overall, everything's running good. It gets us in compliance with credit card machines and credit card bylaws, so that has been something that I've been looking at for a couple years, and that finally happened. The site can be reached at that Brookings CountySD.us or through our general Brookings County website. There's a little tab on the bottom. You click. It's very easy to go through. I worked with programmers on it, and so if I can follow it, I'm pretty sure anybody can follow it. It's very, very self-explanatory. Lot of new options for paying. One question we did have was with the PayPal credit where you can make payments, you have to have your taxes current to do that. Delinquent taxes, you cannot pay on the site. You still have to contact our office to get those paid. Otherwise, it's been good. We've had Dan's office, equalization, different offices have been able to get payments with credit cards on things that they couldn't before, so that's been kind of helpful, hopefully for them. And then I did give the commissioners the results of our yearly investment policy transfers. If you have questions on that, let me know. Otherwise, what we do is gather the loan dollars made in Brookings County each year, break that into percentage. I take the total in those accounts and split that up among the banks. Any questions?
Any questions for Roy? Well, thank you for all the information.
Yep.
Moving on to be it noted items, the BCOA list for work comp purposes. That list. And we do have a 9 o'clock. No, we don't. We do not have one. So moving on to regular business. Action to approve resolution number 24-06. A resolution designating a contact person to request assistance from South Dakota Wildland Fire Coordinator pursuant to South Dakota Codified Law 41-20A-11 and amending resolution number 23-07. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion as a second. Any comments? I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Excuse me.
This is an annual resolution that we do every year, and then we designate Bob Hill as our contact for that.
Yeah. No other comments? So call the roll, please.
Krogman? Hostler?
Aye.
Vanderwall?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B, action approved resolution number 24-07, a resolution establishing hours of operation for Brookings County offices. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I have a motion a second. Any comments?
This actually amends a resolution that we did kind of towards the end of last year. That initial resolution spelled out highway specifically with their summer versus winter schedule. But in conversation, we have a couple of other departments as well that have different schedules. Our weed department, for instance, has kind of their own summer schedule based on seasonal conditions, and then a winter schedule there as well. And then our outdoor adventure center obviously has some different hours with range hours for the public and different events going on. So I just kind of parse those out as well. Those are the two changes from the previous resolution.
Any additions or corrections? Call the roll, please.
Hostler?
Aye.
Vanderwall?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Krogman?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C, action to approve resolution number 24-08, a plat of tract 1 of Coster Addition, in addition in government lot 4 of section 22, township 110 north, range 47 west of the 5th prime meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments?
This was heard in our January planning and zoning meeting, passed unanimously and sent to this board at the recommendation you approve it.
Any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Vanderwall?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Krogman?
Aye.
Hostler?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D, action approve agreement number 24-04, an application for occupancy of the right-of-way of county highway made by Sioux Valley Energy in Sterling Township, WO 34265. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments?
The first three here, that you guys are gonna be considering are, services to, farm places on the newly installed overhead power line. These will be underground to, these first three to each of these farm places south of Bruce.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item E, action approve agreement number 24-05, an application for occupancy of right-of-way of county highway made by Sioux Valley Energy in Sterling Township, WO 34267. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion to second. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item F, action approve agreement number 24-06, an application for occupancy of right-of-way of county highway made by Sioux Valley Energy in Sterling Township, WO 34268. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item G, action approve agreement number 24-07, an application for occupancy of right-of-way of county highway made by Sioux Valley Energy in Sterling Township, WO 34469. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion a second. Comments?
This is just to cross under, 204th or County Road 8. This line runs along 467th, but the application is just to cross under our county road.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item H, action to approve agreement number 24-8, Brookings County Detention Center inmate housing contract between Brookings County and Dual County. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments? Okay. Any questions for Marty? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Bartley?
Aye.
Krogman?
Aye.
Hostler?
Aye.
Vanderwall?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item I, action to approve agreement number 24-09, Brookings County Detention Center inmate housing contract between Brookings County and Kingsbury County. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Krogman?
Aye.
Hostler?
Aye.
Vanderwall?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item J, action approve 8 petitions for acceptance of late elderly tax freeze applications. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Comments?
This kicks back to what I showed earlier with the tax reduction program. The deadline is April 1st. However, they can petition the commission to accept their application later. These 8 applications all meet the program qualifications, and so Jacob Bremer and myself do recommend approval.
Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item K, action approve a pay title change request policy. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Have comments?
I was tasked with creating this policy. I think I'd initially sent it out to all of you for review, and so now is the time for any discussion or any other changes that you'd like to see on it, and approval of it if it's okay with all of you.
Any comments from the board?
Well, I think this certainly policy that we had discussed before putting into place with all of the requests that we had. It just becomes a situation where budgeting and processing stuff starts interfering with the budget that we have. And so I think this is a good policy. It's a good plan. It lets all the department heads know what the plan is and the policy and the procedure is to request any changes to their personnel and the county employees that are underneath each department head. And then it also allows us, for budgeting purposes, to budget that at the beginning and not have to make a bunch of changes during the year and stuff too. So I think this is something that probably needed to happen, and appreciate Stacy's work on this. I think it looks good, and we vote for it.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item L, action to declare a Kyocera copier as surplus property to be destroyed. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments?
This asset is coming from the 4-H department. They no longer have a need for it. We will have the IT department wipe the hard drive, and then we'll destroy it.
Okay. It will be destroyed, correct?
It will be destroyed.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item N, discussion on Trenton Township resolution regarding 214th Street. We received, you want to?
We received a resolution from the Trenton Township Board of Supervisors requesting that the county take over jurisdiction of 214th Street between 34th Avenue and the city of Aurora. Trenton Township owns part of that stretch, and so that's what they're asking to take over. So 34th Avenue to the intersection of 474th Avenue is what they're asking at this time. The other portion of that stretch between 34th and the city of Aurora is under Aurora Township's jurisdiction at this time.
Correct. I know Trenton and Aurora have both been inundated with complaints and requests, and they just, with their normal maintenance schedules, can't keep up with the maintenance on this stretch of road. Aurora does also have a resolution in hand that they were going to have here today with this one, but they didn't get it to us. But they're interested in the same type of action being taken on their stretch. So,
Just a question for Brian. As we look at this resolution, obviously it's going to cost us additional funds to maintain that road or bring it up to the standards that you're comfortable with maintaining it. Do you have any idea cost estimates for us? Obviously, it's not in your budget for the next year. It would have to end up being a supplemental budget. What type of maintenance do you think, or improvements do you think would have to be made to the road?
I'll have to look at it. Give it a real close look, but knowing that the situation out there and the impacts from traffic, it's probably going to need gravel and quite a bit of maintenance.
At this point, we have not received our report from Banner on cost of asphalting that road, paving it all the way to Aurora, have we? We're still waiting for that report?
we have a meeting to finalize the results on that, the 23rd of the month, I believe. And, they were gonna schedule in the next, I believe, early part of March to get us the report.
As I've followed this over the months here and years since we started the project with the interchange, there was always a thought that we were going to end up having to take over these township roads to improve them to get to Aurora, either with a gravel upgrade to standards that we can maintain, or to an asphalt overlay, which is obviously much more expensive, which is why the public should know that we've asked for a request from Banner study to tell us what our expenses are. When we receive that report, we'll have a better idea of what we can ask for grant money from state or the federal DOT awards that are out there to help us achieve that. We know it's going to be millions of dollars to get that accomplished. What I'm concerned about today is it's a discussion. What I'm concerned about today is we bring both the Aurora resolution and this resolution at the same time for a motion, so we can look at both. And I would request that Brian then bring us some sort of an estimate of cost on maintaining this per year if necessary, because I don't think we're going to have a paved road grant awarded to us in the next year or two. So we're probably looking at an extended period of time that we'll be maintaining that before we get to asphalt, which then we will still maintain it as a paved road. So, yeah, I support the idea. I just want to make sure we don't do anything today as far as a resolution until we get both Aurora's resolution and Trenton Township's resolution and some cost estimates from Brian on how it affects our budget and how we're going to take care of it, personnel-wise, equipment-wise, cost-wise. So once we get that, I think we can put it on the agenda. I think we still have time to make that happen if everybody's comfortable.
Yeah, I just know townships I believe they'll be taking quotes for their maintenance from their contractors, but, keep in mind also Aurora, most of this upcoming summer, Aurora will be doing their sewer project, and I'm guessing the road, probably be closed part of the summer.
Okay.
So, would be, actually probably a good time to get some of the work done on it too. So. But I do know that Aurora, they meant to have their resolution here today, but they didn't get it done until last night, so.
We'd have time then by the next meeting to consider both resolutions and make some sort of a motion that makes sense,
Yep.
Knowing our cost factors and our maintenance factors and our personnel factors, and maintaining that section of road and exactly how far does it go. Yeah, we'd already had some discussions once in a while about Aurora. Is it going to go into just the gravel until it meets the asphalt of Aurora is how I understand it. Okay, all right, that's the definition. There was some question of whether they wanted us to take over the entire road all the way to our county highway. I don't think Aurora's interested in that, the city of Aurora necessarily.
Right, we're gonna have a meeting with Aurora, our group, hopefully before Banner brings their complete report to the board. And we're gonna discuss the length of the project, if within the city limits or not. Aurora will be working on that road this summer within the city limits, so.
And that's a separate issue in some respects, but at the same
Yep.
time, I think it affects our decision on how we're going to move forward with maintaining the road and what we're going to do with it. So,
But part of those decisions will affect the grant funding
Yep.
too, the request,
Exactly.
so.
exactly. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Is there a date in mind on here? I don't read that into that, but we can decide that with the townships on when we would take it over then?
I think that'd be part of our resolution.
Yeah, the process for taking over roads from townships this is the first step. The township passes a resolution, gets that to us requesting that we do that. The next step is then we draft our resolution saying, yes, if that's the direction the commission wants to go, yes, we will take that over, and we do that by resolution as well.
The final step would be, it does need to be approved by the DOT. with our resolutions and the township resolutions, the DOT does need to approve the change.
The change of classification then,
Correct.
correct? Okay. I think we could, Brian, when's our next meeting?
February 20th.
Is that enough time, or you need, get an estimate for gravel and?
I'm penciling together numbers right now, but need to get exact lengths and widths out there to make sure I'm giving you guys somewhat of an accurate number.
The meeting with Banner, though, is the 23rd, right? 21st?
21st.
So it's the day after we meet, right? We meet on the 20th? So, I mean, I would think getting that information from them would be important also, along with talking to the city, talking with Brian, get his stuff. So I'm wondering if the first week in March meeting would be the meeting that we would have all of our information to discuss at that time. Because I think the Banner study is going to be really important. Obviously, the maintaining of it until the Banner study, but that's going to be important with their information of what they're coming up with. So I don't think it's. I think it's something that needs to happen. However, I think it's best to make sure we have all the information before we start taking it.
So Brian, the DOT approval is approval of our resolution after we pass it, or do we have to make an application? This is what our resolution will be. Do you approve it, DOT? Which is it? Because the DOT could take a while to approve our
I don't
resolution.
think that there's going to be much of a hang-up on the DOT's end,
Okay.
but maybe we'll find out that information, how long that does take to change that jurisdictional transfer is what they consider this.
Yeah, get us a timeline, and does it have to be after our resolution is passed, or is it before our resolution is passed and they approve of what we're going to look at as far as
I'll
dates,
get a
time?
hold of
Okay, thanks.
the DOT.
What I think in the overall process of this road being developed, whatever way it is South Dakota DOT is going to probably have some input in it, and we're going to need some help for this. So, my thought would be a presentation to them that this is just our first step toward that process, and that this is a plan that we have over the next so many years or months to improve this road and the traffic and the safety that's all involved with this. And so I hope they're open to helping us work towards securing grants, or if there's state grants, or if we go to federal, because they're going to have to be involved in it either way. So maybe it's a meeting with them. This is the first step. We're going to have resolutions from the townships looking at moving forward, and we're probably going to take these over and start taking care of them. So wouldn't be a bad idea to have that meeting with the DOT about the plan of the whole road as we move forward, because we're going to need their help.
Well, I agree. The fact Aurora and Trenton Township didn't ask for this overpass to be built. It's unfortunate the amount of traffic that's on there. At times it's not safe. Right now it's in pretty good shape because of the moisture, and they're able to maintain it a little bit better. But it would get soft here in the spring thaw. It'll be challenging for the townships to maintain it. And I hope people in Aurora would understand that the townships have limited funding, and their contractors have a schedule that they follow, and they try to do the best they can to maintain that stretch. So, any more comments? Item number N, consensus to publish a supplemental budget public hearing notice. Consensus of the board.
I need consensus from the board to start that supplemental budget hearing to publish that public hearing notice. We do need supplemental budgets for the Rural Access Infrastructure Fund, now that we know what projects that are approved for 2024. And then again, any remaining projects, I'd have to look back to see what's left for if there's anything from 2023 yet, but I think we're getting pretty close to having those wrapped up. Commission projects budget line, that needs additional, some of those funds, again, moved into that budget line. I think some remaining final interchange project costs, Samara Avenue, some costs there. And then in our 301 building fund, we have the E-shed out at the highway grounds, and then some final project costs for the move for equalization and county development, that move. Supplemental budget there, since that was a project that we thought would be finalized last year, but some of the final bills for furniture are still outstanding. And then, of course, as the discussion was this morning about the striping for the highway, we'll work with Brian and take a look at that too. So basically, I just need consensus from the board to start moving forward with that process.
Yep. Okay. Item O, present report.
All right, so in your packet was the 2023 year in review that I put together for you. Brian was our chair. Commissioner Jensen was our vice chair last year. A rundown of all of our departments and our department heads, whether they're elected, appointed, or state employees there. This is now straight up number of employees by department. And this is kind of as of year end last year. It's not FTEs are coming up. This is just straight number of employees that we have by department. And of course, the Sheriff's Department Detention Center are combined into one. And I know we've been seeing over time that reduction in part-time staff there. Otherwise, not too much change. And then this is the FTE. So this is actually kind of spelling out, one FTE is one full-time position. So the finance office, this change, really this one change is kind of a little bit deceiving because that's the temporary election workers that we do every other year for that. So that's what that is. Sheriff's office, really you can see with all of the changes that we've made, adding some additional full-time staff with a reduction of the part-time staff, we really haven't seen too much of a change in their FTEs. Commission office, the one there is the addition of the Veteran Service Assistant, that position that was created last year. Otherwise, there were no other changes. So this gives just a general, this is the general fund expenses, so it shows you what basically we're spending our money on in the general fund. Clearly the ones that stand out are the Sheriff Center. The commission budget is higher than probably what you would see. That's due to our commission projects line that was within that commission budget that we're paying for those projects out of. That's why that one's kind of a little bit higher. Otherwise, you can kind of see how it goes from there. This shows in the general fund what we started out in 2023, what their beginning budget was for each of those departments, what we did for contingency transfers to those particular departments, if we did any budget supplements to those in those particular budgets, and then the final total. And then the last column is what was unspent at year end. The good news is everybody was in the black, and that's what they need to be. We can't be in the red at that department level, so that's good. And then across the bottom isn't really totals. It's total revenue. You can see that we brought in the general fund about 18.4 million. Total expense was 18.9 million. So the amount actually rolled the fund balance was actually negative last year of about a little over 500,000. The reason for that, again, is that commission projects funds. We received those a couple of years ago, and now we're spending those, right? So we're not seeing that. We recognized that revenue a couple of years ago. So that negative roll to fund balance doesn't surprise me. Non-mandated funding, these are all of, at budget time, you spend, some time in budgets approving these non-mandated funding requests, and you can see kind of how they play out. Obviously, the biggest one is Brookings Behavioral Health and Wellness at 200,000, the Fire Association at 134.5, and then down from there. So these are all of the other county funds, except for kind of highway and building funds. So all of these kind of, well, I guess highway is in there. So that one kind of stands out, right? That's the biggest other fund that we have. And this is just straight up expenditures for all of those other funds that we have within the county. And again, similar to that other report that showed the beginning budget, budget supplements or contingency transfers, and then the ending budget for all of these other non-general fund budgets, unspent budget at year end, and then by each of those funds, we look at total revenue, total expense, gives you what rolled into fund balance. Everything on these was actually in the positive, except for Register of Deeds Relief Fund was about $6,000 in the negative. Not too concerned about that. There's very specific things that have to be spent out of that particular fund. We had a fund balance there, and Bev is just choosing to spend that down. No concerns there. The other one was the Detention Center Expansion Fund. That's fine we don't want to roll any more in there. We closed that fund out now. That project is complete at the end of 2023. So no concerns with any of those. So this shows revenue in the general fund and the road and bridge fund specifically. You can see in the general fund, it's very clear that we get our revenue from taxes. A little bit more, a little from goods and services, some intergovernmental, but mostly the majority of our general fund revenue is taxes. And on the road and bridge fund, wanted to show that transfers, insurance, surplus is where the majority of the revenue goes from for road and bridge. Those transfers are, we make a pretty significant general fund transfer into that road and bridge fund every year, so that's why that is higher. Some intergovernmental revenue, whether that's from, the state, DOT funding, things like that. And then revenue from all of those other county funds, you can see kind of by the colors underneath what kind of all of those different funds, how they receive their revenue. So then just a revenue recap by fund. Revenue budget, this is what we budgeted. That first column is actually what we said, yes, this is what we think we're going to get in for revenue. This is what we anticipate. Actual revenue that we received, and then the difference. So if it's on the plus side, we actually receive more revenue than we budgeted for, which is a good thing. If it's on the negative side, then we received less revenue than what we were anticipating. Nothing really stands out there. The rural access infrastructure, that one's off so much because we actually just put in the same dollar amount that we had received originally in 2022. We're handling that fund a little bit differently now. We should be actually getting about another 563,000 into that fund here in 2024. Otherwise, the rest, the negatives were pretty small. E911 fund, that's that surcharge money. It's kind of a best guess at the beginning when we budget revenue for that. So we kind of just do our best there. So fund balance at year end for for several of the last few years, and then by kind of our three major funds: general fund, road and bridge fund, county building fund. As you can see in 2023, everything is in the positive now, so we're growing all of those again. So that was a good change in 2023. And then general fund, we look at the last 3 years of revenue, expense, fund balance, assets and liabilities. Liabilities aren't even really showing up. They're pretty small. You can see that, we're down a little bit in revenue. And again, I think that was probably those ARPA funds, those types of things kind of explain that. Expenditures were a little bit up, but you can see revenue and expense on that, kind of that more orange column there. Columns are pretty even. Grew fund balance, a little bit of less in assets, but nothing to concern ourselves with there. Road and bridge, this is the same thing, showing the last few years on revenue, expense, fund balance, assets and liabilities there. Nothing really stands out. I know fund balance looks a little bit low, but we actually grew that this year, so I was happy with that. And then the same report, but for the county building fund. 2021 was sort of an anomaly. Why that one's so much higher is the detention center project was going on, so that kind of threw those off. Once we get 21 out of there for that kind of 3-year look back, things will probably even out a little bit more there. And then this is showing what we're spending our commission projects funding on. And again, this was at the, I guess, as of the time I did this report, kind of what we have approved for funding 22, 23, and so far here in 2024. You can see remaining to allocate about 730, just shy of 735,000 left there to allocate yet out of those commission projects funds. And then some fun pictures of different things that we did through the year. The brew shop, you can see where we kind of some pictures of how we started, some progress, and then the final product and some interior pictures there. If you haven't been up to Bruce yet, that turned out really nice. The interchange project, we had that big ribbon cutting in August, and that's open and being used. We did our office upgrades and we moved county development and equalization. And then we did, our glass and our swinging doors on several different offices, including Commission and Register of Deeds also went in there. Veteran Services also got some swinging doors. I don't have a picture of that. But again, we're still working on some furniture things with both county development and equalization, but overall everyone's moved and things are going well. And then the new GF&P offices and the 4-H storage out at the BCOAC. Again, some just progress pictures of it getting framed up. What it looks like now, and kind of some interior pictures of the finished product out there. And that's it. There we are. Looking good. You guys have any questions?
Questions? Thank you for the report.
Yeah.
Item number 9, Commission Department Directors Report.
There is, I think, and I maybe have put some information also in your packet on that tactical pipeline response training. There is a meeting on February 28th. It's out at the Dakota Bank Center. Looks like they do want you to RSVP for that, so I don't know if anybody wants me to do that for them, or maybe you have already for yourselves. You've done it already, Mike? You've already RSVP'd. Anybody else plan to go? Mike and Kelly?
I'll probably go.
Do you want me to RSVP for you? Okay.
I'm gonna be out of town, so if you would RSVP a no for me.
Okay. And then, we did receive a request, once again, for Uncle Sam Jam, to do a sponsorship for that 4th of July event here in the city of Brookings. We've done $1,500 for them for the past several years. I do have that budgeted in public relations. If you agree that, I will get that moving forward. I hear a lot of heads shaking yes. Okay, perfect. And then the other thing that I have is just some upcoming dates. Monday, February 19th, offices will be closed for President's Day. We already talked about the pipeline response training on the 28th. Hopefully, on you have it on your calendars, the annual township meeting and the weed board meeting out at the BCOAC on February 29th. That starts at 10 o'clock. The township meeting portion is in the morning, lunch, and I think there's maybe even going to be a speaker now over that lunch hour, and then the weed board meeting starts at 1 o'clock. The next 10-county meeting, Sioux Valley Commissioners meeting, is March 13th. I know that's a little ways out yet, but if you want to get that on your calendars now, don't have an agenda yet, but that'll be in Beetle County, I'm guessing in Huron somewhere. Once I get that agenda, I'll share that out. And then Friday, March 29th, offices do close at noon that day for Good Friday. That's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Other questions? State's Attorney's Report.
Yeah, there was a legislative update that will benefit the county pretty significantly. So going into this year, for every diversion referral on the juvenile side, the county received $250. And then this year, Senate Bill 47 was introduced, and it made it through the Senate, was passed through House Appropriations, and will likely get passed by the House and signed by the governor. But it increases the so the state gives Brookings County and every county a chunk of money for every diversion referral, and it's called the Fiscal Incentive Diversion Program. So we typically receive about $10,000 every year from the state for those juvenile diversion referrals. That's kind of been the average for the last several years. And so this bill raises it from $250 to $750 per diversion referral. So, you know, the kickback from the state, you know, we're going from 10 to upwards of around $30,000 per year once this bill goes into effect here next year. So that'll be a good increase for Brookings County. They found some dollars that was sitting out there in the DSS budget that's being reallocated back to this program. So a good win for Brookings County and counties across the state to get some of those dollars to offset our costs on that side. So that's a good development for us on the legislative side.
Okay. Commissioner reports and discussion items. Commissioner Vanderwall.
Thank you. On January 20th, I attended the Brookings Day and Pier. On January 18th, E911 meeting. And on January 23rd, the 214 meeting we had in Brookings here. We're making some progress on that, as we talked about earlier. And then on the night of the election, last week, January 30th, I came in and watched the vote counting for a little bit. That's my report. Thank you.
Commissioner Barley.
Thank you. On the 17th, also went to Pier for the Chamber Day, and Pier was well attended this year. Large crowd of people from Brookings went out there in SDSU, and we had a good time. Good reception, good meeting. January 22nd was a BEDC board meeting to discuss some organizational changes within the organization. It was just an informational meeting and presentation, and that would complete my report.
Mr. Krogman.
All right, January 16th, we had a research park board meeting, working on, working with the bioproducts building and getting that up and running and finalizing everything there. The 17th, went to Brookings SDSU at the Capitol Day, along with my other fellow commissioners. The 24th, we had a beta meeting that I was unable to attend, but just an update. They're working on getting appraisal for the building on our property. The first request, they could not get an appraiser, did not accept it. So he's working through the process through South Dakota DOT to, to sell that building. First is an appraisal, and the first request, nobody answered. So they're doing another request, which they're going to open it up a little bit more, and hopefully we'll get an acceptance from an appraiser to do the appraisal. So that's just kind of an update of where we're at. But again, we have to follow the DOT timelines and DOT requirements for disposing of that property there and stuff too. So that's where we're not going as fast as we were hoping. Then on the 25th, we have Brookings County Housing. We have around 276 vouchers that are out. We have the ability to have up to 400, but we have people that continue to apply for it, but then a lot of them don't follow through. So it's a process that takes a while to get through, and it takes some time, and it takes effort from the person applying. And then also it takes coordination with the facilities that are available for Section 8 housing that will accept those. But there continue to be use of the Section 8 vouchers. And one thing that was really interesting, we got some year-end numbers, and there was over $1 million that was put into Brookings County from this program for rental assistance and rental payments. So that's a lot of money. We want to continue to use this program for people that qualify for Section 8 housing, and there are, it's not just Brookings, the city of Brookings. They are regionally using these vouchers. Clear Lake has a few. You have them spread out through Brookings County. Bruce has a few. I know they're looking into Volga a little bit more. So it's not just, they just can't go there. The facility that accepts them need to go through an inspection. The owners need to accept Section 8 housing, but it was kind of shocking that much dollars came in towards rental assistance in Brookings, and it spreads outside of Brookings County also. Goes into Flandreau, again, Clear Lake, up towards Esteline, and west of us also through Arlington and East Smith. So anyway, they're continuing to work hard on that and try to get as many people qualified for housing here in the area. On the 29th, I had the Brookings Health meeting. And things are going well there. We'll be getting an update on the investment council next week to see how they're doing, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be happy to come see us because things have been going well in the markets lately. So anyway, that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Commissioner Osler.
Yeah, so on the 17th, I attended the Brookings Day at the Capitol as well. It was well attended. On the 24th, we started our weekly Public Affairs Committee legislative updates via Zoom. On the 25th, we had a Brookings Domestic Abuse Shelter meeting via Zoom. And then the 26th, the BEDC meeting. On the 29th, we had our Brookings Outdoor Adventure Center meeting. And then the 31st, again, was that Public Affairs legislative update.
Okay, 17th also went to Pier in the Brookings State Legislature. The 18th, E911 meeting. The 23rd, we had a discussion with Banners on the 214th project. On the 29th, BCOAC Advisory Board meeting. And also on the 30th, with Commissioner Vanderwall, we went to the vote count that evening. That's all I have. Moving on to item number 12, executive session in accordance with South Dakota Codified Law 125-2, parentheses 1, personnel. Do I have a motion to enter?
Second.
And a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We'll enter into executive session.